8 terrifying things astronauts have seen in space. Imagine being hundreds of kilometers above Earth. No sound, no air, only endless darkness. Space is not only beautiful, it's also terrifying. Space is not just a place, it's a test. Over the years, astronauts have seen things that we still cannot fully explain. In this video, I will present 8 incredible and disturbing phenomena experienced by real astronauts in space. These are not myths, these are real events, real accounts recorded during actual missions. Not encounters with aliens, but something far more unsettling, the unknown. And believe me, by the end of this video, you will never think about the universe the same way again. Case 1. Unknown object during the Apollo 11 moon landing mission, 1969. The incident occurred 3 days after launch during the Apollo 11 moon landing mission. On board were Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. The spacecraft was traveling between Earth and the moon. At that moment, Buzz Aldrin noticed a bright metallic object through the window. The object appeared to move at the same speed, maintained its position relative to the spacecraft, occasionally reflected sunlight. Aldrin reported the sighting to Mission Control, but used careful wording. During communication, Aldrin reported the object, questions were asked by Mission Control, and they attempted to determine its distance. The object did not blink like a satellite, did not behave like a star, it showed relative movement. NASA suggested it could have been a detached panel or rocket component. However, Aldrin later stated that the movement of the object did not fully match the behavior of drifting debris. Years later, he said, "We saw something, we just didn't know what it was." Case 2. Knocking aboard Shenzhou 5, 2003. In 2003, Yang Li-wei became China's first astronaut during the Shenzhou 5 mission. During the mission, while alone in the capsule, he heard a strange sound, knocking. He described it as similar to a hammer hitting a metal container. The sound seemed to come from outside, occurred at irregular intervals, and had no identifiable source. Yang Li-wei checked the systems but found no malfunction. Later, similar sounds were reported on other Chinese missions. No clear technical explanation was ever found. Case 3. Gordon Cooper and the radar-detected object, 1963. In 1963, during the Mercury Atlas 9 mission, Gordon Cooper reported a strange phenomenon. While orbiting Earth, he observed a bright greenish object. The object moved fast, was clearly visible, and did not behave like a conventional spacecraft. Cooper reported the sighting to Mission Control. What made the case unique was that the object was also detected by radar. This ruled out a simple optical illusion. The case was never fully investigated, and no clear explanation was provided. Case 4. The music on the far side of the moon. Apollo 10, 1969. In 1969, Apollo 10 was the full rehearsal for the moon landing. The crew were Tom Stafford, commander, John Young, command module pilot, and Gene Cernan, lunar module pilot. When the spacecraft moved behind the moon, all communication with Earth was lost. In this complete silence, something unusual happened. The crew began hearing a strange sound, a continuous whistling tone, almost musical in nature. One astronaut asked, "Do you hear that? That whistling?" The sound lasted for nearly an hour. This was unusual because there was no external radio source. The environment should have been completely silent, and the sound was stable and continuous. NASA later explained it as radio interference between the command module and the lunar module. However, similar sounds were reported on other missions as well. Case 5, Skylab 3 and the Rotating Objects, 1973. In 1973, during the Skylab 3 mission, astronauts observed several unusual objects. The crew were Alan Bean, Owen Garriott, and Jack Lausma. Event: multiple small objects appeared near the station. They rotated slowly, moved in irregular paths, disappeared and reappeared. The crew took photographs. Explanation: NASA later concluded they likely were insulation fragments, ice crystals, or microscopic debris. However, their movement was not always fully explainable. Case 6, the figures of Salyut 7, 1984. In 1984, Soviet cosmonauts aboard Salyut 7 reported a strange phenomenon. A bright orange light filled the station. At first, they suspected a fire, but when they looked outside, they saw unusual shapes. They described human-like figures several meters tall with glowing wing-like structures. The phenomenon lasted briefly, then disappeared. Later, another crew reported the same experience. Possible explanations include light phenomena, psychological effects, or sensory distortion caused by extreme conditions. The exact cause remains unknown. Case 7, Edgar Mitchell and the Sense of Presence, Apollo 14, 1971. Edgar Mitchell was not just an astronaut, he later became a researcher of human consciousness. During the Apollo 14 mission, he reported a unique experience. He said that in space, after some time, he felt as if he was connecting with something, not with beings, but with a kind of intelligence. He later described it as cosmic consciousness. Many believe it was psychological, but Mitchell believed it was something more. Case 8, the fireball during the Gemini 6 mission, December 1965. In December 1965, the Gemini 6 mission was a long-duration spaceflight test. On board were Frank Borman and Jim Lovell. The spacecraft orbited Earth at an altitude of about 200 miles. The mission began as routine. Then Borman looked out the window and noticed an object. The object was bright, moved at high speed, traveled parallel to the spacecraft. Borman reported it to Mission Control. The response was that it was likely a previously detached rocket stage. This seemed logical. However, Borman was not fully convinced. Shortly after, he reported again, "We also see a second object." This no longer fit the explanation. It did not look like debris. It did not look like ice. The conversation ended there. No further investigation followed. No detailed explanation was given. The event remained documented without explanation. Conclusion: space is not just exploration, it is a confrontation with the unknown. Most of these events likely have natural or technical explanations. However, they all share something in common. They appear expectedly, they are difficult to identify in the moment, and they have a strong impact on astronauts. Space is not only physically extreme, but also psychological and perceptually. This is why some phenomena initially seem unexplainable, and although some are later explained, not all of them are. And perhaps the most terrifying thing is not what we see out there, but what we still don't understand.